Hey everyone, Karen Cecilia here. I trust you're all good. Everybody's all right and safe. This morning I wake up early this morning to the sound of a hell of a fire brigade flying past on Mullines Road with police behind him. And I just said a silent prayer, and I hope that if some are burned down, at least I hope that lives are saved. And for whatever that situation was, I hope that everybody is safe, even if they have lost everything. It's all right. Those things are replaceable. Um, so if you're alive, everything else is replaceable. You don't have to worry about it. So I pray and I hope for that. All right. So please remember to give the video a big like and subscribe if you have not yet subscribed. I don't even know someone waiting for to subscribe. And please do share it to your friends and family. I want to look at some constituencies today because I believe the PNP as it stands now is losing the election. And maybe 2 months ago, PNP was in a better position. A month ago, the PNP was in a better position. Now it seems like everything going to hell. But then the PNP used to be an organization that people could trust. People used to compare us to the JLP, and people used to say PNP people them soft, and they refer to soft being that we are nice and considerate. And we don't engage in sabotage, and we don't undermine our own people, and we don't go out there and undermine and cuss off our leader. So the people used to have that view of the People's National Party. The world used to have a view of the People's National Party as a party that we believe in things like struggle, and we believe in helping each other and do all of that. So people used to believe those things about the PNP, and suddenly people don't believe that anymore. Nobody believes that about the PNP anymore, because people are fully aware that the PNP was captured by two capitalists, and the means by which they did that, people are fully aware of it now, and we're not going to stop drumming it into people's head that no matter how you feel about a particular candidate, a particular party, or a particular leader, or anybody, no matter how you feel about it, you have just one thing and one thing to think about. If you want to go to the polls and reward these guys for what they did, because that would just make you just like them. Because we are good people, Jamaican people, and we know that we should not reward bad behavior. We know that. We were taught that in Sunday school. We were taught that in primary school. Don't reward bad behavior. So I want to look at some seats, and I'm going to start with Raymond Price. The PNP voters who voted JLP in 2016 and 2020 are not inclined to return to the PNP. The PNP voters who switch, they are not inclined to return to the PNP. Now, this is not something we make up. This is not something we think. This is not something that we're guessing. I am telling you what we now know to be true based on conversations that we have had and what we're picking up across the board. Why the PNP people who switched and voted JLP in 2020 are not inclined to go back to the PNP? Well, the main thing is trust. It has always been about trust. They don't trust Mark Golding. They don't trust Dayton Campbell. They don't even like Dayton Campbell. They don't trust Peter Bunting, and most of them don't like Peter Bunting. They don't like Peter Bunting. They don't like Dayton Campbell. Some of them like Mark, but them don't trust him because of the way they went about capturing the People's National Party to make it their own. And all of you out there who have been giving them information about the WhatsApp leak and all that was said and done to destabilize the party and to cause Peter Phillips to lose, all of you out there, every one of you who contributed to make sure the voters hear that, we thank you. This is your job. This is what you did, and that's how the people are thinking now. They have the information on what the white man and Bunting did to destroy the PNP. They have the information. They know what they have. They know what Mark did. They know what Peter Bunting did. They know. They have all the information from the WhatsApp leak, and they have it, and they have been in tune with what all of us have been saying, and all information that we have been passing to them for a couple of years now. And so they know they are not stupid. Yes, voters have short memories, but our job is to remind them on a daily basis as to what led us to this place where all across the world, opposition parties are gaining power all across the world. The political landscape across the world and the political landscape in Jamaica is ripe for the opposition to take power. That's the political landscape, and historically, that is how it has been swinging, Once the world and certain places, all Japan losing, opposition parties winning seats in Japan. It's happening everywhere. Canada, France, in England, everywhere, Ireland, everywhere you go, opposition party are gaining power. And so the political landscape from about 2022 has been like that. And yet, with all of this good fortune of this political climate that now exists, the People's National Party is still struggling to convince even the very PNP people them that they should come out and vote for them. Now, what can go, sir? What can go, sir? Seriously, how can this kind of political landscape exist and you're still struggling? Look at it. Look like this. PNP Vice President Norman Scott struggling. How can a Vice President of the People's National Party be struggling to win a seat? Huh? Ian Ailes is struggling. I mean, I beat up Ian Ailes because I make a promise already to the family that me not. But him struggling. Two of the PNP Vice Presidents struggling to win seats. A senior member of the People's National Party, Peter Bunting, is struggling to win a seat. And what do I mean by struggle? I mean by struggle that the entirety of the PNP organization or the PNP orchestra in those constituencies not behind them. That is where the problem lies. They are struggling because they don't have the entire political PNP orchestra singing behind them. Not at all. Them struggling just to convince the sopranos or convincing those who sing in tenor. Them struggling to convince the people who play in bass or the people who play in piano. Them struggling to just to get people to just believe in them. Because why are they struggling? They are struggling because the most potent of political currency is likability. It's the most important thing in a politician's life. Likability. I mean, we have seen the movie how you can mask certain things and people just like you, or you have a name and people like you. You can have the name and people don't like you. Everybody remember that movie that Eddie Murphy starred in when he ran for a seat in Congress and won, and nobody never even know that he's black? Why? Because he have the same name like the white man who died, the congressman who died. Eddie Murphy had the same name, some Jefferson, something, but he had the same name. And all Eddie Murphy did was take the same paraphernalia, go to the widow's house, get the paraphernalia, place them up all over the place, go through all the communities in our van and do all kind of announcement and go out all kind of antics. And he won. Why? What's the gist of him winning? It's a comedy, yes, but what is the gist of him winning? The gist of him winning is that he took the name of a man, not only that he's white, but the man in Congress forever. People liked him. People liked him. Him dead forever. Him old. Him dead for a young girl. Correct? I don't know. I think he died for a young girl. So, and he was liked. So it was easy for Eddie Murphy to just take him name and just win the seat. And he did. I enjoyed that movie. But I'm saying to you, the most potent of political capital is likability. And you are pretty much 60% across the finishing line if people like you. Because people say, boy, I like him. Him nice looking. Or him brown. Him tall. Yeah, man. Him nice, man. I like how him talk. You know, yes, he shoes him a van. Yes, me like him, man. Him a nice young fellow. Me like him. Or he's a doctor. No, not in the case of Dayton Campbell. Please, not in the case of Dayton Campbell. Certainly not in the case of Dr. Dawes either. But people just say those things, and that would cover a good part of your winning strategy. All you have to do now is take that likability and turn it into something more tangible. Start using that likability for people to believe in you and buy what you're selling, because that's what politics. You have to be selling something and people have to want to buy it. The first step for them to want to buy it is for them to like you. You know, there are a number of people come through this community selling things. I believe you me, I get fun out of it. A number of them come through selling things. There's a season man that comes on a Sunday. I believe you when I tell you this. The whole of them go market in this community. Practically the whole everybody yard go market. But yet, when the season man come on a Sunday, everybody have the season man, him stand up, him up on the hill right there, so with him bicycle and a big tree or something, and everybody around him. And you hear him come to head upon, hey, season man here, hey, season man here. And everybody come out for the season man. Them like the season man. Some people go market and do but I buy nothing because the season man come. So there you go with that. Then there's a Carlo man. Carlo, yes, Carlo, and just come down quietly and make a Carlo sound one time or two time, and those who want Carlo come out. Then there is this girl, or this woman, who rides around on a bicycle. This woman that rides around on a bicycle. And she's shouting out, don't make your hold them cock up. May have nose ring, belly ring, tongue ring, finger ring, eye ring. I mean, she just went go on and on. And then she comes and says, don't make your hold them cock up. And that is so funny. You know? Now, why do I bring these things to you? People go town regular. People go places regular. Them love to shop. But these people come through and these people get sealed because people like them. So you hear them a whisper because when them gather under my window here, so because the tree or the wall shelter them as a comfortable spot for them stand up, them chat all kind of crap. I hear them depend. You know, so I go half a tree, I'm going to the jewelry stop there and me make the man there clean up me yes, as I said, no, me I wait for the girl if you come. And get the thing, but get one thing, me I wait for the girl if you come. Anybody see her? They hear she come soon after, a couple of days after. People do that because they are comfortable with the people that they buy from. That's why you go. You go market, you stick with your people. You have people you buy scallion from, the people you buy your tomato from, people you buy your onion from, the people you buy your potato from. Different people. And you stick with that. It's the same thing in politics. It's the very same thing in politics. You build that relationship and you create an aura where people like you or people believe in what you are selling, and then because they believe in what you're selling, they will buy it. And that is the situation. In the case of Raymond Price, some months ago, it was thought that, him shaky because people were saying things like, him not answering him phone, him and him this and him that, and all kind of things was being said. But now, him start answering phone, him start respond to people. People now saying that he's approachable, he's responsible, he's visible. People tell us, we like him. People like him, Yeah, man, people like him. All Labour like him. People like him, man. People like him. So with that, Raymond Price is about 60-65% over the winning line. With that, I don't know what his strategy is in terms of turning that into real tangible votes. But at least him reach a part where I'm supposed to, he should have been there a long time ago and actually building on that. But it's there now because one day in politics is a whole heap of time. And he probably will find himself in a position where he might be able to topple the Rasta man. We will see, most people believe that he can. But politics, as I say, is very fluid, and it is it move minutely and hourly. So now Raymond taking that likability, and I'm taking that likability, and he is wrapping that likability around addressing some character issues, the phone answering thing, and not responding to people. I know him doing all of that. And things might be getting good for him, because likability is the most important currency in a candidate's life. They have to like you first and foremost. Them that like you as dog. Because if them that like you, you could have buy them out till God come. It still boils down to them that like you. I mean, I like him. I like him. But there's the argument that, well, I'm a PNP, so I'm going to vote PNP. But that argument is getting through to the voters. Them now know that you don't have to vote for him because I'm a PNP. You know, if you don't like him and you don't think he's going to do a good job, you don't have to vote for him, because the choice is yours. And you must think first of your family and your children and your community and your country before you make that decision. Then there is down in Southwest St. Elizabeth, which is a bellwether, as they would say, a must-win seat for either party. But should the PNP win Southwest St. Elizabeth, it's pretty much over. But we can always go back and talk about that some more when we reach some other seats. Floyd Green is stable in his constituency. I'm sure of it. And some of the things that he's doing. And once again, most people like him. The PNP candidate, I believe she was once either assistant secretary or constituency secretary to Danny Buck. I'm not so sure. But she was once something to Danny Buck in that seat. I don't believe that Danny Buck would have been joining with these traitors and these Judases to win the election. I don't believe he would have. Danny Buck was the one who recruited me to support Omar Davis. And he was the one who was building my political status in the party. Pushing me. So Danny Buck have a certain kind of loyalty to certain things. For example, when Danny Buck said that was pushing for Omar to run for leader, it wasn't at last minute. Danny Buck was pushing that for quite a while. And everybody was having a good time about Danny Buck's choice to be leader. So and nobody had any angst with him about it. Nobody. Because he was an upfront, clean and decent man. Say what he needs to say and do what he needs to do, and he do it in a decent and honest way. Him not mislead nobody. You see where my political pedigree them come from? Him not mislead nobody. Because he always say, tell them the truth, cross. Just like that. People can't handle the truth, but tell them. So I don't know if Danny Buck, I don't believe Danny Buck will be supporting this young lady, having him seat after she go join with the risers them to undermine the PNP and cause us to lose the 2020 election. I think it's Miranda Wellington is her name. Plus, I'm also sure that there are people in Southwest St. Elizabeth that's going to sabotage her too. Because I am sure there are people who wanted Danny Buck's son to run back. And they never gave him that chance, or somebody else that they wanted and they never gave a chance, then give it to her. And she got the seat as a reward for supporting the traitors. So I don't know if she have it in her to topple Floyd Green. And I seriously doubt that. Seriously doubt that. Because the PNP people who went and voted for Floyd Green are basically saying that them now go back, them stay in Mr. Green for one reason or the other. I don't know if he did particular things for them, if there were things that he did that nobody else never did. And he does have a well-oiled political machinery down there, in contrast to Miranda Wellington. So there you go with that. So I am not sure that she can cross it. Floyd Green should be secure in his seat. But once again, the argument I want to bring across to you when I name these seats is the argument of likability and the fact that PNP voters who switch and voted for the JLP candidate, they are not inclined to return to the PNP. So Southwest St. Elizabeth PNP people who switch. Now here is a shocker. And I don't believe it's a shocker. It might be a shocker to you. It wasn't a shocker to me. It became clear to me about a month after Jess won the selection for Northeast St. Elizabeth. It became clear to me that she's going to F it up. She's just going to F it up. And so in Northeast St. Elizabeth, the very same PNP people that voted for Mr. Slowly are now saying that they're not with her. And they're going to vote back for Mr. Slowly. Because Mr. Slowly is the only one that have done things that the last person who did those things was Raymond Price. And them they are nothing with she because she is with Basil Wade, and the combination of them don't like her plus Basil Wade is a deadly combination that just not going to help her. And that's what I'm talking about, we're talking about political experience. The political experience first have to come from your leaders, and the people who grooming you to be candidate and to become MP, The people who are grooming it's not like back in the day when the PNP and the JLP, as in the case of what the JLP did, for example, in the Westmoreland seats. Last minute you just tell some people go and nominate because you have it in your mind that you're not going to win these seats. And so we ended up with George Wright and some other people because you just tell them go and run. But George Wright was in representative politics before. He was a councillor. It's a good elevation. At least he have some governing experience as a councillor. But there are those who have absolutely no governing experience, absolutely no political sense, no political experience, no political sense, and they just say, you supported us, you stay with us, so, go on and do it. And let me pause and remind you that is how Mark Golding operated. He is rewarding people who supported him, and he's not concerned about the political organization and how it look. Is that concerned about whether you like the person, yes or no. Him just a reward you because you support him, and this is what you said you wanted. So may I give you, and may I give it to you because this is what I promised you for your support. And that's all there is to that. So that is that for that. Northeast St. Elizabeth might very well stay in the JLP column because Zuleka Jess not cutting it. So Mr. Slowly, as it stands now, have the edge in that. All because, let me repeat each time I do this, all because people, one, they don't like her, and secondly, they don't like Basil Wade. Those two combinations are deadly. Those two combinations, you're just not going to make it. Now, I normally would not venture over to East Portland, and East Portland is not so much in the likability column talking about whether them like ISAT or no. It is more complicated like that, and it's kind of a political it is a political outlier for to say that there's any probability or possibility of PNP flipping that seat. That probability or possibility would have only existed if Damian Crawford had stayed. But him run, and him go bow to Mark Golding them, and him bow, and him bow, and him bow, and him parade up himself. Him now for trim, him need now for trim. And that would complete his transformation of bowing. And so that is what. So I don't know if I want. It's not about winning, but I want to talk about East Portland a little bit because there are some things that are concerning to me as a political junkie. Now, Portland is my parish. A piece of land out there. We have a family out there. We have one big nutmeg tree where we can't seem to get the money off of. And then I load a bit of money off it. But at my place. And based on what I'm told about East Portland is that Mrs. Vaz have lost a little bit of steam. And when they say Mrs. Vaz, when they say negative things about Mrs. Vaz, they combined it with her husband. Things like them a bully, things like them a dictatorship, things like them want to control everything and everybody, and so on and so forth. So that's basically the combined narrative of the two of them, and not separate apart. But separately from Mrs. Vaz, there is a thought that she don't sweep yard anymore and hang out clothes anymore. I don't even know why she stopped that, because that so works, It so works. But she's not doing that anymore. So there is that. So she might be in a little bit of trouble in some places. there might be a little bit of misgivings in the minds of some voters in some places. The good news in that is that them not high either and Isaac Buchanan. Well, nobody's jumping and dancing and screaming for Isaac Buchanan. My family, them describe, so they don't rank and face you out a long bay. Trust me. My family was a long bay. And Manchiniel say, Isaac is a dead man walking. And I'm not saying it in the context that it is actually meant or the term is coined in that context. They are saying in the context that every time them see him just look dead. Him walk slow, him talk slow, him move slow, him look out time dead. Him always look like lazy, like him have nothing to do and nowhere to go and nobody to talk to. What my cousin say? Me I wonder if he head can move, because I never seen shake him head yet. I mean, when that have to do with nothing, me I gonna report to you what them say. You know, say, me tell you something, cuz. You know, say, me never see the man move him head yet. Me say, what do you mean by that? Like people that talk to you, say, and shake, and Patricia go, shake the bed up and down. She said, me never see him do that. Me I tell her, God, cause me not tell her like Paddy. Me never see him move him head yet. So I said, probably if we do a head check. And welcome movement, so people can say, hey, that move, because people might think is that they're blasted robot or some kind of clone of something. But them not high on him, them not hot for him, but there are a few places that have lost steam for Mrs. Vaz. And that is some of it individually for her, most of it is a collective sigh of can't bother with them because them are bullying. and them are dictators and so on and so forth. So Mrs. Vaz can take that for whatever she chooses to take it as that. But some of them are weary. They are weary with Mrs. Vaz and even some of them remark that she stop sweep people yard. I help them hang out clothes, and I sat on the other hand is low energy. Always sweating and a dead man walking. I'm just using words that are relayed back to me. That's a conversation I'm relaying back in my head while I'm talking. That dead man walking and him always sweating. You know? Now, in Western St. Mary, I have always said that Bobby Montague can lose. And the only reason why I say it is not whether people like Bobby Montague or not, or whether people like young Woodbine or not. It's not about the people that have problems with Bobby Montague are his own people, not PNP people, his own people. The reason why I've always said that is that I know where all of Bobby Montague votes come from. He know where votes him come from. He have some problem with those places. He does. But the thing is, that is not the issue. The issue is the PNP do not know where votes are for the PNP. They have never been there. They have never ventured so far. They have confined themselves in a box, a small box of the PD, then a PD, then an area, then an area. And Western St. Mary is a vast place, huge. And it might seem that way, but it's big. And spread far and spread wide. And there are just so many small places that there are whole PNP votes are. But PNP have never ventured up there, so people don't see a need to vote. So what usually happens is that the JLP people the small amount of JLP people in those areas usually deck out the place in green, come out and looking smart and nice, and whoever them can get money for come out with them, they will come. Based on how things set now for Bobby Montague, that might increase. And them test that out in Morant Bay Division already. So we're not going to put that past them. The candidate for Western St. Mary would need, and let me repeat again, never say never. Never say a man can win. Because we have proven already, it has been set already. There is precedent already that you just don't say that foolishness about a man that can lose or a man that can win. Do not say that foolishness, because it is the voters that decide who wins and who loses. It is their choice and it's for them thing. And if people hate you enough or dislike you enough, they will make the trick to make sure you lose if they don't like you. And if people like you enough, they will also make the trick to make sure them carry you over the line. So it's going to be who can get to them, and all the conditions are there to facilitate a loss for Bobby Montague. But and it's his own doing. It's not nothing the PNP did or anything anybody did. A him own doing. I don't know what it is. I am not going deep into it. But once again, you're faced with a problem where him could lose, but the PNP candidate don't have the oomph, don't have the panache, don't have the likability, don't have the political understanding, don't have the political organization, don't have the political operation. So that poses a problem, and that might very well be enough for Bobby Montague to carry it back over the line. So there is that with that. But then again, there is Westmoreland, Ianiers. And as I say, I'm beating up of the Ianiers. I don't want to get a phone call or text message from my nieces, them and the rest of them. I can't manage it. But Ianiers also have a problem, and the problem is likability. Him have the money, there's some semblance of organization, there's some semblance of ground operation, but the likability is what is now haunting him. And the worst thing about that is that Ian Hills know that he has this likability problem, and he has not done a single thing to change people's perception of whether he is likable or not. Him still remain who he is. And in politics, when you run an election, you have to reinvent yourself. Because if you want to get where you want to go, you have to reinvent yourself every day. You can't stay the same, and he have not found it in himself. And that is a lack of humility on his part, why he's unable to convince people that he is a likable guy, because he's not humble, and that likability is there. If we go now into the great constituency of Eastern Westmoreland, and as much as people, and even me, I thought that Dayton Campbell is an easy win, I want to tell you, it is not. It is not. Why? The people them in Eastern West, which is why, he's not the campaign manager for the PNP, I mean, he's the campaign director. But usually, it is the general secretary of the party who is the campaign manager. He has handed that job to the overweight, looking unhealthy deputy general secretary, and not throwing shades at big people and fat people. But aesthetics is also an important thing in politics. So him hand over the campaign manager job to Skeffrey, who I better keep my mouth shut about Skeffrey, because I might go off and get rude. I don't want to be rude to nobody. But him hand it over. Why him hand over the campaign manager job to Skeffrey, who have written some kind of manual, I think it's some kind of training manual, I am understanding, for the training session. And I got one phone call, one normal phone call from one smaddy who said to me, if me have the training booklet that we normally use. And I said to the person, you shouldn't be asking me for training booklet. Isn't Maureen Weber a person in charge of training and stuff like that? She would have an updated version of that manual, because she's the one who actually put it together with our input. All of us contributed to making that document what it is. But the person is saying this training manual that they have advised the comrades them not to ask voters questions like, are you going to vote? Who did you vote for the last time? Do you know the candidate? Are you going to vote for the PNP candidate? Vote things like that. I don't get the full gist of what you're talking about, because she herself don't have the full gist of what you're talking about. The only thing that she knows, and which is why she made a call to me, is that we have always told them, ask the voter a full question. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid to ask the voter. Did you vote in the last election? Who did you vote for? Let the voters of them not tell you, because that would also help you to make a decision and to come to a conclusion as to what the voters, where the voters' state of mind is. You know, the voter is a JLP, the voter will tell you, say, my paying JLP, the people will tell you, and all the rest of it. So I don't get it, but that is what she said. So she called me about. So, but anyway, I went off into that, never intended to. Skeffrey is a campaign manager, which the logic behind that, I would imagine, I would think that the logic behind that would that to give Dayton Campbell the latitude and the time that he would need to convince the people of Eastern Westmoreland to vote for him. And here we go again. Here we go again. Two vice presidents of the PNP are struggling to convince PNP people to vote for them. Struggling. A senior member of the PNP is struggling to convince the people of South Manchester to vote for him. And then the General Secretary of the PNP is struggling in a seat that was once held by the leader of the party. What if you get what I'm saying to you? What if you're understanding what I am saying? I am saying to you that the two vice presidents of the People's National Party are struggling. A senior member of the party is struggling to convince PNP people to vote for them. And the General Secretary of the PNP have to second out his duties and responsibilities, which he shouldn't have in the first place for a nasty, dirty pedophile that he is. But he has seconded, proxy out his duties, his job. Proxy it out. Because he need to convince PNP people to vote for him. And he's having difficulty doing that. So, there you have it. There you have it. Is he convincing people to support him? From all that we can see, we don't believe that he is convincing people to vote for him, because people are onto him. People are well onto him, and they know what he is, and they know who he is, and them not inclined. Them not inclined to vote for him. So there we have it. Likeability, and taking that likeability and turn it into something else that could carry you over the line, and carry you through. But the General Secretary of the PNP don't have that. The people of Eastern Westmoreland not even lukewarm to him. So he have to second out, proxy out his position as campaign manager to go convince the PNP people them to vote for him. Now you PNP people, listen to me out there quite clearly. Listen to me. Two vice presidents, a senior member of the PNP, and the General Secretary, all are struggling to convince PNP people to vote for them. And them running, and as the saying going, you're running, but you can't run away from yourself. So there they are, trying to outrun themselves. The General Secretary mash up one constituency, commit so much crimes down there as a man with underage picnic that him can't go back there. And because him can't go back there, him find himself over in Eastern Westmoreland trying to convince PNP people to vote for him. And in doing that, him struggling. You're running away from yourself. You must have done something wrong where you can't find where you belong. That's what the saying go, I think. You're running away from yourself. You must have done wrong why you can't find where you belong. Dayton running away from Northwest St. Andrew can go back. Peter Bunting run away from Central Manchester. Run away from themselves. And guess what? Everything that they are is catching up with them. Them won't be able to run far enough. Finally, I want to touch on Central Manchester. And I want to touch on Central Manchester briefly, finally, because in spite of Mrs. Olney's effort, still trying to F around to find out, really working hard for Rhoda Crawford to lose that seat. And in spite of that, Rhoda is doing better than the PNP candidate Donovan Mitchell. Mrs. Olney's still effing around because she wants to find out. And she just might. And doing everything in her power for Rhoda Crawford to lose. Fortunate and very good for Rhoda is that she has gone under the radar and worked in her constituency and trying to build back her good name and goodwill with our people. Now, it would have been easy to say that with the help of, people calling Skeng names, so there you go, people say, I'm just repeating it, it's not me just want to call up him name. People say, Skeng about Donovan, so with Skeng and the movement down there, they will topple Rhoda. I am not all entirely convinced of that. Not true, because people don't like people gang up on weak people. Jamaican voters and people don't like when a whole of strong people come and a gang up on a weak person. And right now, Rhoda Moy Crawford is weak and vulnerable. She's a young woman who just came into the politics and found herself in some controversy created by a lying, scheming, bipolar, selfish individual who created all kind of things for her. And Mrs. Holness is hell-bent on destroying her. And I'm hoping that the people of Central Manchester will see the nonsense in all of this. I'm truly hoping that they will see the nonsense in all of this and help Rhoda Crawford get re-elected. The thing I want to say regarding this, the Central Manchester thing, is the whole, how the thing just look. Now, you see Rhoda struggling because Mrs. Holness have her hand on the scale down there, trying to punish this young woman for something that she may or may not have done. So she's doing her best. And then you have some people who are not the Miss Holness at the JLP, so they might help Rhoda. So if you have Rhoda, and then you have Donovan Mitchell, the mayor, who is backed by Skeng, and whoever come now to gang up on this one young, look a weak young lady, because as a young person she make mistakes like all young person does. People don't like that. But it is strange to believe that with all that is happening with Rhoda, and all that is happening around her, and all the difficulties that she's facing, it is strange that it still looks like an uphill task for Donovan Mitchell. That's a landscape I'm telling you about, you know. So here is a ripe political landscape that is elusive because of all the things that are there, all of the obstacles that have been placed in the JLP path. They are the incumbent party. Incumbent parties are losing all over the world. There is the political landscape where people still want some change and people believe that bro got this and bro got that. But yet, on the other hand, is the white man, the British national, the man who not a citizen of our country, but captured People's National Party through devious means, recruited some people to help him and reward them by giving them seats to run. So there is that. What I'm calling a dichotomy. So there is that. So them on one side, where the conditions are ripe, but the Jamaican economy is picking up. Crime going down. The only crime that is going up is the crimes committed by Dayton Campbell, which the government the minister, the police commissioner, the authorities, none of them want to deal with. They want to be careful look at these things when they come back. I'm going to stop now because this gone over 44 minutes already. I never intended to stay so long because I don't like to complain about how long it is and all of that. And people don't listen to whole like because it's long and all the rest of it. So I'm just going to close it off right here so now. I'll talk to you another time. God bless you all. Stay safe, everybody. And please do keep our children safe.